All right, let's talk about something that is just so satisfying in video games: crashing cars. I mean, who doesn't love it? But behind that glorious, chaotic crunch of metal, there's a ton of tech and some really tough decisions that developers have to make. Today, we're going to tear it all apart and see exactly how it's made. You know that feeling, right? There is just nothing quite like causing a massive, spectacular wreck in a game. But, and you know this if you've played enough games, not all crashes are created equal. Some are just incredible physics-defying ballets of destruction. And others, well, they just kinda thud. And this is really the core of it. On one hand, you get the advertising fantasy, where a pristine supercar plows into a wall at full speed and comes away with a few light scratches. But on the other hand, you get this beautiful, mangled chaos, where cars just crumple up like a soda can. So what gives? What's the big difference here? Well, the answer is way more complicated than you'd think.
Okay, let's get right into it. The first reason some cars are practically indestructible has nothing to do with technology and everything to do with, you guessed it, lawyers.
Think about it. Car manufacturers spend billions of dollars building up this image of safety, performance, and reliability, so the absolute last thing they want is for you to see their shiny new car getting utterly demolished in a video game. It's just bad for the brand, and it puts developers in a really tough spot.
And these rules, they get wildly specific. The driver's cabin has to look untouched, no matter what. And the roof can never, ever be damaged. And that is why you'll play these super realistic racing sims with all the licensed cars, have a massive crash, and it just feels kinda lame.
So, what do you do when your hands are tied by these really strict licensing deals? Well, you get clever. Game developers became masters of illusion, creating a whole bag of tricks to make us think a car was breaking, even when the model itself was barely changing.
So the first trick in the book is all on the surface. It's called shader-based destruction. And really, it's just a fancy way of saying they paint the damage on. Think of it like putting a sticker of a scratch or a layer of dirt texture right onto the car. The car's shape doesn't change one bit, but it looks like it's been through a battle.
And if you want to see this done perfectly, look no further than Burnout Paradise. They were the absolute masters of this. You remember those epic slow-motion crash cams, right? As the camera zoomed in, you would see every single scratch and scrape appear in real time. It looked incredible, and it was all just a brilliant visual effect.
But what about bigger damage, like actual dents? For years, the most common trick was model swapping. Now, this is basically a magic trick, a clever sleight of hand. The instant your car hits a wall, the game, in a fraction of a second, swaps out the perfect undamaged hood for one that an artist already made to look busted. It happens so fast you don't even see it.
Now, games like Flatout took this idea and just ran with it, creating tons of different pre-broken parts they could swap in and out. But it had a big limitation. It wasn't truly dynamic. If you crashed into the same wall the same way twice, you'd get the exact same dent. And once you see that, it kind of breaks the illusion, you know?
Okay, so faking it can only get you so far. The real revolution, the real game changer, happened when developers stopped just swapping out parts and started to actually deform the car itself in real time.
This amazing technique is called vertex morphing. So see, any 3D model in a game is really just a mesh made of thousands of tiny points or vertices. Vertex morphing lets the game's physics engine grab those individual points and physically move them around based on an impact. It's like the car is made of digital clay, and every crash literally reshapes it.
And this, right here, this is the crucial breakthrough. Because with vertex morphing, no two crashes are ever the same. The destruction isn't a pre-made thing an artist created anymore. It's something you create in that exact moment. That specific mangled wreck is uniquely yours. So how did games get away with this level of destruction? Well, games like GTA 4 had a secret weapon. They made up all their car brands. By not using real-world cars, they had total freedom. They could toss all those manufacturer rules right out the window. That whole "the roof can never be damaged" thing, gone. They could finally let you turn a car into a pancake, and it was awesome.
Now, vertex morphing was a huge leap forward, absolutely massive. But there's another level beyond that. A gold standard that pushes vehicle destruction from just looking realistic to being a full-blown, honest-to-goodness physics simulation.
And that brings us to soft body physics. This is the big one. We're not just bending the outer skin of the car anymore. With this, the game is simulating the entire structure. Think of it like a digital skeleton with muscles. Every part is connected, so when you hit a wall, the force doesn't just dent the bumper. It travels through the entire chassis, just like it would in real life.
And if you want to see soft body physics taken to its absolute extreme, you have to look at BMG Drive. The obsession with detail here is just mind-blowing. They don't just model a car, they virtually engineer it. Every single component is simulated. You can actually see the chassis flex and the tires deform. The simulation is so deep that just misplacing the gas tank can throw off the car's entire weight balance. It's unreal.
So reaching peak realism like that is incredible. But is that the only way to make destruction fun? No way! In fact, some of the most memorable games are the ones that take realism and just toss it right out the window.
I mean, look at this stuff. You've got games like Teardown, where the entire world is made of little destructible blocks, so you can just chip away at everything. Then there's pure, unadulterated power in games like Hulk Ultimate Destruction, where you can just rip a car in half and use it as boxing gloves. And of course, environmental chaos, like in Split Second, where you're not just crashing cars, you're collapsing entire buildings on the track. Realism is just one flavor on a very big menu.
Okay, so we've gone through all the tech, from the simple fakes to the hyper-complex simulations. But this whole time, there's been a bigger question hanging in the air. Why? Why do we love watching this so much? What is it about twisted metal and shattered glass that's just so compelling to us?
Well, it turns out it's not just about mayhem. There's some deep psychology at play here. For one, we're getting a safe dose of adrenaline, the thrill of danger, without any of the, actual danger. But it also taps into our morbid curiosity. And on an even deeper, more primal level, our brains are actually taking notes, observing these threatening situations from a safe distance to figure out how to survive them.
When you step back and look at the whole journey, it's pretty amazing. We've gone from faking a few scratches with simple textures to simulating every single nut and bolt with soft body physics. The art of the virtual crash has gotten so incredibly close to reality, it really just leaves you with one final thought to chew on. Where do we go from here? What's the next big smash?